Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angel, and today I'm going to share with you some books that I would really love to read for this fall season. So I'm going to start off with some of the books that I just keep putting on TBRs, and a lot of these ones are going to be more well-known books, so I'm not going to really read the synopsis to you. The first one is going to be Dead Collections by Isaac Fellman, and I actually got like 100 pages into this already, so this one should be a pretty quick book to finish, but this does have vampires, it has a trans character, I believe there's several queer characters obviously in this book, and a lot of my friends online have read it, so I would love to get to it very quickly, but I've had it in like 4 TBRs, I feel like. The next one is The Need by Helen Phillips, and I'm pretty sure this one I should be able to get an audiobook for. But I know that Sage ended up really loving it and was really freaked out by it because they like aren't really into horror or scary things as much, but they really enjoyed it, and so I keep meaning to pick it up, and hopefully this fall will be the year I read it and love it. I believe this is also more of like a domestic thriller. I don't know if it's true horror, but it sounds really spooky. A book I don't know if I've talked about it a lot, but at least at some point I hauled it as like a horror book I really want to read, and this is The Grip of It by Jack Jemk, and I actually have a different collection of stories on my physical shelf here that has a story by this author. This one I believe is about a family that buys a house, or maybe they just recently moved into it, and there's like this weird presence to the house. I think it's like there's this weird breathing kind of sound wherever you are, and nobody can really figure out what the heck is going on. The next one is Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin, and this one I pretty much have been obsessed with ever since I saw it on Twitter and the author was talking about it. I feel like it's talked about quite a lot or posted about, but I haven't really heard many people's true thoughts on it. The big thing here was that it's horror in the sense that some characters says they must navigate murderous turfs, a sociopathic billionaire bunker brat, and awkward relationship dynamics as well as outrunning packs of feral men and their own demons. There's like this post-apocalyptic queer vibe going on, but also it's set in New England, so that's the kicker for me, of course. The next one is Devourers by Indra Das. This is another one that I feel like either 1 or 2 years ago, like probably on my old channel, I talked about wanting to read it. I believe it's talking about a college professor he reveals a story that's like left untold. Like I think it's like a manuscript all across this person's desk. Maybe that's overthinking it. And he starts to put together this very horrific story. From the documents spilled, the chronicles of a race of people at once more than human but kin to beasts. And it's talking about folklore and fantasy. Some others that have been on my TBR for a long time and I'm hoping to read in the next couple weeks here. This is going to be Bunny by Mona Awad. I have put this one off for so long because it's another one that everyone talks about, everyone suggests to everyone. I know a lot of my friends have actually recommended it to me, and I'm embarrassed at this point that I have not read it. Then there's also the infamous Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. I don't even think this edition of the book is the one that's available anymore, but this is about a group of writers that I believe are tasked, like I think they're asked to come to like an event that is memorializing them, and I think they're gonna star in a TV show in this haunted house and also write a book. I might be making up the TV show part of it, to be completely honest. These next two are also books that I've started before and I just never got around to finishing. First one is In the House in the Dark of the Woods by Laird Hunt. I think I've actually tried to read this in several vlogs at this point. This is about a woman who is living, I think, with her husband and her son. One day the woman goes off into the woods while the husband is gone, I think. They just encounter some weird things, and it's very fantastical and kind of eerie and creepy. And then there's also Little Eyes by There's also Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin, and I have read quite a bit of this one as well. I just need to actually finish it now that I own a physical copy. And now we can hop on to the rest of the books. I pretty much have hauled all of them in the last year. Maybe there's a few outliers, and they're all horror or weird, creepy books that I wanted to read for a long time, and I finally actually bought them. So the first one here is Black Tide by Casey Jones, and this is about a couple that I think they go to have a one-night stand on the beach. Like they just kind of like go out and they're going to go have sex, and they wake up the next day and the apocalypse has happened. So yeah, there's gonna be some guilt there, but also the fact that they're pretty much strangers. Like I don't think they really had met. It's a one-night stand. And then I actually wanted to read this anthology, which I've seen on a few different people's channels now, and this is Other Terrors, an Inclusive Anthology. It says talking about different cultures, backgrounds, sexual orientation, identities, different beliefs, different skin color, and some of them just aren't part of the majority. Another anthology, and it's that very short horror book. It's The Tiny Nightmares, very short tales of horror, and this has a whole bunch of different authors. It's almost like one of those things I want to read like a page a day or like a story a day, because they're all like less than 10 pages, like maybe 5 or 6 pages, and it's just like a pocket-sized little book. Next is a newer release. This is Mary Awakening of Terror by Nat Cassidy. You can see I did recently buy this. And this is about a woman who I think goes back to her hometown and either moves into her childhood home or is like taking care of another home. And she starts to see things in the mirror. Like she starts to see herself looking wrong, or she's like hearing voices and all these like creepy things are happening. And she's trying to figure out why it started happening, I think, when she moved home. I also have Slewfoot, A Tale of Bewitchery by Brom. And this book continues to elude me. I've had it long enough that Bento has taken a few bites out of it and is truly destroying this beautiful book. But it is a I think like a puritanical kind of horror book where there is this woman, and she is, I feel like she's probably like Hester Prynne or whatever. She ends up, I think, either like discovering or speaking to this this creature here, and he's some sort of demon. And that was probably the vaguest description you've ever heard, because I just don't want to know much more. But it is set in Connecticut, 1666, and so we're getting that like witchy Puritan horror kind of vibe. Another very, very new book to me. This is Suburban Hell, and this is by Maureen Kilmer. Something about it just gave off the same sort of vibes of Grady Hendrix' Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, because this is about a group of women that are all like local, live in the same neighborhood, and they're all moms, I think, and one of them decides they're going to build like a she shed out back because suburban women get bored, I guess. I mean, same, but they decide to build a shed where they can just go hang out and I think like drink and just chill. And then I think there's some sort of demonic possession or demonic entity in the shed, so it's going to be definitely a bit more humorous than some of the others, but it gave me that same summer vibe of the Grady Hendrix book. Next one is an ARC that I asked for, and I feel really bad because it's been a year since this book came out. So this thing, Between Us by Gus Moreno, and I keep coming back to it because I keep seeing the cover and I keep seeing the book at the store. So this one is a widower battles the dark force inhabiting his smart speaker and his existentially frightening debut that left Paul Tremblay genuinely creeped out, unsettled, and shaken. So clearly it's a book for me because it's got Paul Tremblay. The next two I'll talk about together just because they are very specific anthologies. First one here is the Valancourt Book of Victorian Christmas Ghost Stories Volume 5. It sounds like the collector, the editor here, actually goes through old Victorian type documents like newspapers, like things like that, where you would see a scary, creepy ghost story, and I think they're reprinted here. So I don't know if like they've been touched up or anything. Like hopefully the wording is not too crazy, but very specific type of horror book that I found on Twitter. And this is another one. It's an eco-horror anthology, Chlorophobia, edited by A.R. Ward, and this is kind of dealing with eco-horror. You'll find punchy, eye-catching flash fiction and poetry by no fewer than 50 talented artists. Plants, animals, weather phenomenon. It's time for Mother Nature to fight back, and it is. I've never actually opened this book. It's got very short stories in here. I feel like this is one that was on my TBR for a long time, so I might not have talked with you guys about it, but this is The Nesting by C.J. Cook. I literally picked this up yesterday. And I think this is another haunted house story. It says that architect Tom is determined to finish the high concept environmentally friendly home he's building in Norway, in the same place that he lost his wife. And I believe there's also a woman that comes and acts as a nanny because he has 2 children and he is a widower. And so I think there's a creepy vibe going on between the nanny and the house and him, and something sketchy's going on. And another book, I hate that I'm doing this, but another book that's been blurred by Paul Tremblay. This is Antioch, and it's by Jessica Leonard. It says, it used to be a small town where nothing bad ever happened. Now 6 women have been savagely murdered. The media dubs the killer Vlad the Impaler due to the gruesome scenes. After picking up a late night transmission on her shortwave radio, there's a bookseller named Bess who becomes convinced a 7th victim is already been abducted. And yes, bookseller vibes. We also have like the shortwave radio. Is that going to be more of a thing? And the last one is going to be A Touch of Jen. This is by Beth Morgan. I feel like everyone was absolutely obsessed with this book for a minute, mostly because of the gorgeous paint cover. But it's about this couple who works with a woman who I believe ends up being social media famous. Why did I say that like that? She ends up being internet famous, and she's just always seen like going all over the world and being cool and hot on the internet. And so one day I think they bump into her and they rekindle some sort of like modicon of a of a relationship, and they start to be like sucked into this very weird, creepy world. But the worst part to me, I did start this book, the worst concept to me in this book is the fact that they kind of have like a weird sexual tension in their relationship where they actually pretend at times to be this girl and her boyfriend, and it's very creepy. So there you have it, all of the books that I'm hoping to read this fall time, this next 3 months. I already have plans for 4 of them, and the rest of them should fit really easily into just like picking up the next book. I can't guarantee I'm gonna read all of them, because while I can read like 25-30 books in a month, that's usually when I have like manga and stuff. So I'm gonna try to pick up some more audiobooks, try to listen to these while I'm reading other things, and hopefully be able to share my thoughts with you on them. But that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments if there's any of these that you've heard of. Maybe I recommended them to you kind of on a lark before, or you recommended them to me. I would love to hear it. Also, what are you reading this fall? Because I feel like some people really want to lean heavily into like the gothic, Halloween, spooky, scary books, horror books like me. And there's some people that like just want like other things. Maybe they are very into cozy mysteries during the fall, and romances, fantasy. Those are different vibes than what I'm usually looking for in the fall. So I'd love to hear what you are going to be reading. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.